Hi everyone, this is Dr. Sarala. In conversation with Dr. Khadar, I welcome you all to Millet Magic. And for the first time, we are going live to answer all your questions. Uh,
Not all, some of them.
yeah, okay.
There are too many questions.
Yeah, we had we had a lot of questions pouring in, and we were very happy to see that a lot of you sending in mails just to let us know that you have already begun your millet journey and that you have found a lot of benefits from it, that you are curing yourself of thyroid, diabetes, hypertension. A lot of you just mailing us the positive results which you are getting, and we were very happy to hear back from you regarding these positive results. Few of you sending in your entire case details, even photos and reports, and I would like to mention that it's going to be difficult for us to actually treat cases completely on a live session or through mails. For that, you will need to take an appointment and consult us directly. That is the only way, because in homeopathy, there is a requirement for individual interaction with the patient. But we will be taking the condition which you have mentioned in your question and trying to answer those. Some of them have already got a set protocol which is mentioned in the books already. So we have shared in the description box below the link to all the soft copies of books in English, Hindi, Kannada, Telugu. All of them are available in the description box. So I request all of you to check the protocol in the book. Some of you having new conditions which are not mentioned in the book, and we have chosen those topics and those conditions, and we will be discussing about them. So we'll try to answer as many questions as possible. So without further delay, let's begin. I'll start off with the first section. We're going to be answering questions related to millets and all the millet related topics. And then we will follow that with the oil related topics, then milk, and then a lot of random other questions. So we have
Miscellaneous.
segregated them so that it will be easier for people to find answers further in the future. Also, when you're referring back, you can find, we will be putting a timestamp to all the questions as well, so you can look into the answers in the future also. So let's begin. So the first question, an interesting question, someone has asked, how does each millet work to cure diseases of a specific organ in the body? When the nutrient content, when we look at all the five positive millets in general, all of them have a similar fiber, a similar carbohydrate, a similar mineral and vitamin levels in them. So how do you say that, suppose kodo millet works for blood and barnyard millet works for liver? So based on what is this difference?
There are two aspects to this question. One is that fiber content that all these nutritional values tables list all over the world for each grain or for vegetable, for whatever material that goes into our body. It's only the content. It is the amount of fiber present in 100 grams of the material. But it is the nature of the fiber which is very, very different from each grain. So, Kodo millet has got the soluble fiber and insoluble fiber. Of course, that is very much
So
the
in
case
all
with
the,
all the grains. It's only the content, the amount of fiber that is soluble and insoluble may vary little bit here and there, but the nature of the fiber. See, what is after all fiber? It is a complex structures generated through the further evolution of carbohydrate structures only. So basically, it is the glucose being arranged in different patterns, and slowly it reaches to a great levels of lignans, and then becomes lignin. So the wood that you see in different plants is all wood, but it is different from each and every tree.
yeah,
So that the nature of the fiber is
is
very different from
one grain to
one
the
grain to
other.
the other also. And that is one aspect. So fiber of kodo has the affinity to clean up the bone marrow. So bone marrow related issues like present coronavirus connected to the immunity aspect. So you, if you want to get out of this corona business, you be eating kodo. And the same way, you can see many of the internal organs are associated with barnyard, the soft parts. And the foxtail millet is connected with the
Nerves and
nerves and
joints and lungs,
joints and lungs. And brown top is connected to the digestive tract. So,
skin.
and how do we know this? We have been in the last 15 years doing experiments. And from the time we started in our clinic, we have been working diligently and collecting the data, and then found a lot of these digestive problems being helped by brown top millet, and a lot of this typhoid, malaria, viral fevers, H1N1, H5N1, dengue, all these kinds of fevers. When such patients present to us, we ask them to go on to kodo millet rice for a week. Then you see good results. That's how we have figured out all these things, and I hope we have answered the question.
Yes. Okay, so the next question was, why should we not mix millets? So I think this is a very good follow-up question to the previous question. So each millet has its own special cleansing properties. Just like we were mentioning, we didn't mention about little millet. So little
Little,
millet
of
is
course, the
very
most
good.
important one.
Yeah, very good for all hormone related complaints, all reproductive
Yes,
related complaints.
generated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So each grain has its own affinity, and when we mix everything together, there is not sufficient quantity of any of them to be able to cleanse any part in your body.
The reason is you cannot eat
Yeah,
more than this much.
yeah,
Whether you eat kodo rice alone or mixed millets, you cannot eat beyond your tummy full.
yeah.
So that means the amount of each
Fiber which
fiber
you are
present
getting.
is not enough to clean any part.
So when you eat one grain for two
Consecutive
consecutive days,
days.
the amount of fiber which you get from that is going to help clean each individual organ. So when you do this in rotation, all your body parts are going to get cleansed. So if you're mixing everything, yes, it will release glucose slowly into your blood, but neither will your nerves get clean, nor will your blood system get clean, nor will your reproductive organs get clean. So when you're mixing, this is the problem. So it's best to consume the millets individually to get the maximum benefits.
Actually, I keep giving a small example of our Chamundi
Yeah.
mountain. We have 1,000 steps. If you climb 1,000 steps in a single day, you get to see Chamundi. But then if you climb every day 300 steps and come back, and even if you climb for 1 year, you will never see Chamundi. So
That's the
that's the
threshold amount of fiber
fiber
which you require for it to be effective in
effective
cleansing your
cleanse.
body.
So each and every millet has to be eaten. Not only millet, I would extend the same logic to greens, same logic to all other materials that you consume.
We have a tendency
See,
to
to
eat mixed fruit juice,
use
mixed fruit
fruit
salad.
salads, vegetable salads,
Yeah.
this and that. So don't mix things. This is Western culture of mixing things. Yeah, if you this is good and that is good, this is good to mix everything and you think it's good. So
Yeah.
that's not the logic in the biological systems. Things are different. There are different logic has to be followed. Yeah.
So you will get more benefit if you have one day guava, the
Yes.
next day you have
Mango,
orange, the next day you have mango,
mango.
rather than having in one meal multiple fruits together.
And the logic is extended in nature too. See, you have mango season, you have guava season, you have strawberry season. That means in nature also it gives in quantums. You take this for this period and then be happy. It doesn't give mixed stuff. So that's the way the nature works.
Okay. The next
But
question.
nowadays we are eating carrot all through 12 months, which is not the right thing because technology makes it possible you are going to eat, and that's the wrong thing to do.
Okay, so the next question is how many grams of millet should we eat per meal? And does eating more have any side effects?
Eating more doesn't have any side effects, but then you will be not able to work. You want to lie down and
Have a lazy
have
day
a
after a
lazy day
heavy
after a heavy meal.
meal.
Or you go for extra 2 3 miles of walking, or pump your push-ups or sit-ups more, and that's not an issue here. What is the
And
first question?
the,
Yeah,
yeah,
there's how much is actually very simple. Take two fistfuls of your own fist of the grains and then soak and then cook. Generally that is enough.
yes.
um, so
So
there's
when
no grams, fixed grams, depending upon, and it also depends on how hungry you are. Say imagine you have walked 20 kilometers and come home, you want to eat more, and you have not done anything, simply sat in front of your YouTube and then pressing the buttons.
YouTube.
So you want to eat less. Yeah, so that's not a fixed strict amount there.
Yeah. So I think we should not measure our food in grams. We should
It's not
allow
like,
our
yeah, this
stomach
much,
to
this much,
decide.
yeah.
And millets being rich in fiber,
It
you
is
cannot
to
overeat
overeat.
it too much. It regulates
It's
itself. So
correct.
you can eat how much ever you feel like eating, which is going to vary meal to meal, day to day.
Day
So just allow your body to decide. So let's not fix in grams anything like that.
like that. And one warning is, if you are above 45, eat 2 or 3 morsels less. That's my sincere suggestion. You are better off eating little less than overstuffing yourself.
Yeah. And someone extended the question to how much should I give my children. So for
A-
them also their
Absolute.
own
Their own
fist,
fist.
two
Two
fistfuls.
fist.
So the size of their fist is smaller, so the quantity they require will be smaller.
Small.
So your own fist is a measure for you. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Another question was eating millets along with the side dish curry. Is this enough nutrition without anything else, eating anything else? Just this, will it provide enough nutrition?
Absolutely.
All the
That's
nutrition which we required.
good to go. Good to go. No problems at all. What curry, you need to keep varying. Don't eat the same curry, potato curry, like North Indians eat all the time potato curry, and that's not going to work. So you need to keep changing the vegetables, changing the dals, changing the oil. So you need to have diversified, but curry and millets, whatever form, will be more than enough for you to have all the nutrients that you require.
So you need to eat all the five positive millets.
Yes.
Don't stick to only one
One
millet
millet.
in rotation. You need to, along with this, have different kinds of vegetables in to make your curry, different green leafy vegetables.
Vegetables.
The more the variety, the better.
Better
So
you are.
don't restrict yourself to few. The healthier you will be when you eat more variety. Use different kinds of oils for cooking. Don't restrict to just one kind of cooking oil. And yeah, different fruits. So all these will be more than enough to provide all the nutrition you require. I think the hidden question behind this is,
They want
do
to eat meat.
yeah, will there be enough
Yeah,
nutrition
no,
without
there'll be
milk
enough
and
protein,
meat and
enough
eggs? Yes,
calcium,
yes.
all that is taken care
Yeah.
of.
So even in our dals, we would suggest eating a
Different
variety of dals and
protein.
legumes
Yeah,
as well
yeah,
to give you
dicotyledons.
all the essential amino acids. So don't eat only tur dal every day. Have moong dal, have tur dal, have urad dal, and then so many other varieties available. So when we eat all of these in combination, it will provide enough nutrition, more than enough nutrition, I should
There is another still hidden question
say.
is that the vegetarian food doesn't provide certain kind of amino acids.
Yes.
So where do you get them?
Yes.
But it is offset by the gut microbes that actually make all the necessary fulfilled
Yes.
uh, your pot.
Yes.
So including like vitamin B12, which is very essential to make many of these biosynthetic pathways, is synthesized by the microbe, not by any animal.
Yes.
So people are mistaken or given a wrong impression that vitamin B12 you get when you eat meat,
Yes.
and even that animal that is getting the vitamin is getting from the microbes that it has
It has in
consumed
its own
in the
gut.
gut.
Yes.
So it is the gut microbes that create all this wonderful environment in your body. So it's better you have probiotic food, which is of course Siridhanya, which we have talked,
Fermented porridge
fermented
of
porridge,
millets.
millets. So once a day or
At
three
least three
three
times a
three times
week.
a week, if you have ambali, all the problems are completely set.
So the complete answer to this would be eating millets at least three times in a week in the form of fermented porridge.
Porridge,
And other meals you can have millets in different
idli,
forms,
dosa,
any
paratha,
form you like.
chapati,
Yeah.
pulka, kusku, whatever, no
With a
problem.
variety of fruits, vegetables, and greens is all the nutrition you require.
Your question is very simple, but the answer is very complicated.
Lot of hidden questions in that, yes. Okay, so another question is that people are starting off with millets and having millets for one meal in a day, or having probably two meals in a day, but the other meal, one meal, they are still sticking on to either rice or jowar roti or ragi, whichever region specific. A lot of people came up with this question. So is it okay to do that, and will there be benefit or not? So that is the question.
Let me put it in the other way around. If you are sick, if you are diabetic, if you have BP problem, your thyroid problem, if you have
Cancer,
cancer, if you have SLE, if you have
kidney failure.
kidney failure, or now going through corona positive, in that particular conditions, you would not want to eat anything other than these five grains. Five positive grains, which we call Siridhanya, including ragi, jola, sajje, that is pearl millet, finger millet, great millet. All these millets do not have the capacity to get you out of the disease. But then you do not have any disease. You are like me. I have no problems, and so once in a while you can take part. Just bajra roti, no problem. Nothing will happen. But then you do not want to,
That shouldn't become the
that shouldn't
majority.
become the major meal for you. Like what,
Once in a
once in
week.
a week you eat siridhanya and then you keep eating only bajra roti, all the, or finger millet. No, you are going to fall sick sometime or the later, sooner or later. This we have observed. We have seen a lot of communities whose main meal is finger millet, and they're also slowly getting into sickness. And we have helped these kind of communities changing their food materials into five siridhanyas. So if you are sick, the only five grains that can help you are these five positive millets. And if you are not sick, and a lot of young kids who have still not fallen sick, though obviously nowadays many young boys and girls are succumbing to various illnesses. Uh, the reason being that they are also eating, not that they are not eating, they are eating rice three times, four times, they are eating wheat four times, five times. All these things are happening. It's not that people do not have food, but they are not eating the right food. That's why we have been watching and recording lot of illnesses touching young age. So this we need to avoid, and that's why we are trying to communicate to people that if you are more than half of your food, even if you are healthy, in a week, should be up to 60 to 70%, let it be positive millets. Remaining 30% can be filled with this neutral millets.
Neutral grains.
But I would certainly ask everyone not to touch
Rice.
paddy rice and wheat. Wheat, absolute no, 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 no.
There's a reason there
There is
in
a
the negative category.
category.
So
So these two
for
are
for
negative
people
grains.
who are watching for the probably not knowing the classification.
Classification.
So the five positive millets: foxtail, kodo, little, barnyard, and brown top, having a fiber percentage of 8 and above, these are classified as the positive millets,
And
which
the
have
technical point for positive grains is the carbohydrate ratio to fiber is in single digits, and these five grains
Only
satisfy this.
satisfy this
So
criteria.
the
So
technical aspect
these
of being positive grains is single digit carbohydrate by fiber ratio.
ratio. Yeah. So these are the grains which will help to bring you out of disease.
Yes.
And then we have neutral grains like ragi, jowar, bajra, corn, quinoa. All these,
Quinoa is a pseudo
yeah,
grain.
it's a pseudo grain, but classified. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
So the fiber percentage ranging
Even
from,
barley is actually
yeah.
one of the neutral grains.
So having a fiber percentage between 2 to 4%. So these grains are
4.5.
good for
Yeah.
people who are okay for people who do not have disease. But once you have any kind of chronic illness, any disease as such, then these are not going to help you. You will have to stick only to the positive grains. But if you are, and rice and wheat are negative grains, they are having fiber percentage of 0.2 and 1.2 respectively, and these are a no-no for everyone. So the next question was, actually there are a lot of Indian variety of rices, like traditionally, which were grown from before in India, which a lot of even natural farmers are growing and selling in organic stores. So they're organic and Indian traditional rice. So are these also not good for us, is a question which many people have asked.
Yes, they do contain zero point 0.2 grams fiber only. So if you are diabetic, whether you can eat Navara rice or red rice or that rice, this rice, Rajmuli rice, nothing is going to help you. And even many doctors think eating
Brown rice
brown
or red
rice
rice,
or kuchlaki or in these coastal areas, all this
parboiled rice
parboiled rice, or because they
have,
continue to have little fiber,
yeah. So
but nothing is going to help you.
white rice, which most of the
Yes,
people are eating, has zero fiber because any amount which was present has been polished.
polished,
But it's not very different when you are talking about red rice, brown
unpolished.
rice, or the unpolished traditional rices. They too have a maximum of 0.2% of fiber, which is no way
No,
enough or no
uh,
way going to
to help
slow
us.
down the process of glucose release
Yes,
into the blood. So they are still going to be negative grains and are still not good for your consumption.
that's it.
Okay. The next question is, how long can I store millets and how do I increase their shelf life? So, someone from America has been asking that when they buy millets, some packets say the expiry is 2 years from the date of packing, some are saying 6 months from the date of packing. So, exactly, do they have a shelf life and will it be problematic if they consume it after the expiry? That was the question.
Yeah, there are two aspects to it. If you have dehusked millets, it depends on the way they are packaging. Nowadays, there are a lot of technologies, nitrogen
Yeah, packed
vacuum
in vacuum
packing, this.
sealing.
So that they have actually tested, and then the company, the technology that they are using has this. As long as you have kept it in the packet, they are maybe for 2 years shelf life. Some technologies can guarantee, some for 6 months. That's with regards to the technology, but
Make sure it's not chemical which is being
chemical which
used
is
to.
used, yeah.
Yeah.
So otherwise, if you have dehusked the rice, say in Indian conditions, a poor middle class family has to keep it. Generally 2 months to 3 months you start seeing small worms coming into picture, but that you can actually put it in little air,
Sun, yeah.
sun, and then you can get rid of. So the shelf life of dehusked grain in natural conditions is 2 months to 3 months, and beyond that, generally things do not stay fresh. So you want to eat before 2 to 3 months.
The main problem is only the insects which
Yeah,
infest the grain.
the
Otherwise, there is no problem in
problem.
eating the grain as such. It's
Yes,
not going to be harmful for
harmful
you. It's just the problem of the insects, which actually they're smart. So they tend to infect millets faster
because there
because
is
they know that
no
there is more
no
nutrition
and
in
no
millets.
chemicals are
Yeah, no
around.
chemicals also being used
Yeah,
to
insecticides are
grow
not
the
used.
millets.
Yeah.
So they are a purer form of food even for the insects, so they tend to catch insects sooner. So if you're able to prevent this from happening in natural ways like airtight sealing or by frequently exposing the grain to a little sun, then you can store the millets even up to 2 years. It's not going to be a problem. And another thing which I used to do when I was in Dubai for at least 6 to 8 months, I needed to store the millets. I would keep it in the freezer. So I would take it out from the freezer for the next week. So how much I require for the following week, I would take it out from the freezer and then utilize it. The rest of my stock would be in the freezer. So if you have space in your freezer, this is also an option to store the millet.
And for people who can actually dehusk in their own house using Bucci method, that mixie, the dehusked rice, we have told the story.
Yeah,
And without removing the husk, you can store the grain for
much
almost yeah,
longer.
7 years, 10 years also, without any
So
problem.
the seed
No
of the millet as
millet, yeah,
such
such,
before dehusking,
yeah,
that has a tendency to stay for much longer. So you can actually buy the cleaned complete millet,
millet,
whole millet,
whole millet,
and process it yourself in a butchi mixie at your own home
whole,
and prepare how much you require for the next
next
week or the
week or
next two
next,
weeks
yes,
and utilize it if it's really causing a problem
problem,
for you to store
store.
the dehusked grain.
So even if you are in America, you can actually do this. You can buy the full grain, whole grain, and then have a small mixie. Whenever you want, you can just pulse and then remove the husk with the fan, and then you have the rice. So there is no problem of shelf life,
Insects and shelf
insects, and
life.
all that. So
And when you're talking about the whole grain, the longer you keep it the better it is. Even
actually,
like,
yeah,
yeah, I
the
think we have seen ads for basmati rice
basmati,
saying aged 2 years,
say
aged
age
4 years.
3 years,
So
yeah,
the same way,
yes,
if you have millet whole grain, the longer you keep it, the quality of the rice improves. So yeah, you can store.
matures well, and
Okay, so another major concern for many people is after starting millets and continuously having it for 6 months or 2, 3 months, they are seeing weight loss and they are scared that they are losing too much weight and they are switching back to rice or wheat. So, is it okay to continue millets if there is a great amount of weight that they are losing? Is one question which many people are.
you want to say,
Yeah.
yeah,
So I think of late the problem is most people are on the obese side. So when someone starts losing weight, it's something like a great alarm. I have patients coming here who have been 85, 90 kgs, and when they're reaching a even the upper end of normalcy, they are alarmed by the weight loss. They're reaching 70 kgs. They should have been around 55, and yet they think that, oh my god, I'm losing weight, I've become thin, and people around are saying, oh, you're looking very thin, you're losing weight, and they think it's unhealthy. But I think we have a general notion that being fat is being healthy, which is absolutely not true. So don't worry about weight loss too much. And even if you are losing weight and you were in the normal range and you're tending to become a little underweight for your height, it's still okay, because this happens usually in the first 6 months when you suddenly start eating millets. But over a period of time, within 2 years, you will gain an optimum weight. So you don't need to worry, you don't need to be alarmed. As long as you are eating millets and feeling energetic and feeling good, weight should not be the primary concern, is what I feel. Yeah.
and the logic behind it is that we have to be healthy, first point, and the millets replenish the healthy living cells. So the first 6 to 8 months, as you know, only millets have got this cleansing capacity. It is removing all the dirty things in your body, including cells that are connected to your bones are dirty because you have eaten the wrong food all this time. It is accumulating dirt, fat, all kinds of toxic, morbid stuff. So you got to get rid of that. And the millets are doing an excellent job. So if you are losing lot of weight in the first 6 to 8 months. That
That
means you
means
have been completely dirty.
detoxing.
Dirty, the word is dirty. Huh? The word is dirty. So the dirty things have to go away. You will certainly lose weight and then you will be rebuilt. And all the new cells that are going to come are going to be made of
Healthy
healthy
cells.
material, and that is being supplied by the positive grains. So that is the logic. So don't get upset. And you see, the problem with all of you is that people who have seen you being plumpy and unhealthy, and you think that that is being healthy, which is absolutely wrong. And you will lose weight and you will build a healthy weight over a period of time. And generally, it takes 7 years for all the living cells to be replaced. But half the time, within 3 to 3.5 years, all these processes show you enormous
Results.
positive results. So don't worry about it. So generally 2 to 3 years, everything will be stabilized. And look at me, I've been like this all the time. So you're going to be healthy. Don't be worried at all that you're losing weight. You're losing the bad things. You have to get rid of bad packages. Then you will get good ones. Just wait for 2 years.
Yeah.
And so be sticking with positive grinds, food materials all the time.
Yeah, don't go back
Don't
to
go back.
again the wrong
Yes.
stuff. Yeah. Okay. So the next question was about how to identify unpolished millets, because now in the market, a lot of people suddenly started to buy millets, but they are eating polished millets, buying it online, buying it in many shops, and this they know as not to be good. Many people know that polished millets are not going to help them, but still they're not able to identify which is polished and which is unpolished and what the difference actually is. So let's just.
That answer is going to be very simple. We are going to put different photos,
Okay.
load in Millet Magic,
Okay.
and people will understand the difference. And this comes by experience. You got to feel the grains and unpolished and polished. And with the smartphones, you have good photo cameras. You can actually see the transparency and all that. So it's getting used to. You just have to
So what you need to do is take a black surface
surface,
and put a small amount of the millet sample on the surface and take a photo with your smartphone. So in
zoom in,
that zoom, when you zoom in and look, you will be able to
see
see
the
if there
adulteration.
is a lot of broken grain particles, then it is most likely adulterated. And when it is polished, the tendency to adulterate is more because everything looks white. Then is when the people in selling it can mix rice made into smaller pieces is mixed into the millets. So first of all, unpolished millets, each one has their own
Color,
individual color.
shade,
Yeah,
yes.
so which you need to learn to identify. Foxtail millet is yellowish in color, brown top millet is greenish in color, kodo millet is red in color,
Red,
and
pinkish red,
yeah,
yeah.
pinkish red in color, and little millet and barnyard millet are off white to cream in color.
Correct.
So each one needs to have its individual color. If everything is white, then it's an absolute no no, don't go to buy it. And
And
then within
also,
this you
if
can.
you can actually have some time to study, you can take few grains and take your picture and then see even the shape of each grain is little different.
Yeah.
So this, I think you need to start learning. I mean, you have to spend time and do the homework yourself.
Yeah, each grain will have a small dot or eye on it when
The
it's,
embryo
yeah, a true millet
millet
grain will
grain.
have a small dot on the surface. So I think we will follow this up with a video on
Yeah,
how to identify unpolished millets with pictures
yeah.
demonstrating so that it will be easier
And the
for you.
most important thing, unpolished ones are absolute important because the final coating, when the grain matures in the seed, the top layers are actually containing the lignans. So if you remove away with the machines, if you polish, then you are not getting the full content of healing capacities of the positive millets. Though fiber to carbohydrate ratio may be the same, and then you will have no diabetes, no BP, all that. But then it's not
the
The
cleansing action
yeah,
which
it
we were
is,
speaking
health
about.
is not just not having diseases.
Yeah.
It is something beyond. Being healthy is a positive thing. It's a wonderful state of body and mind to be in. So the completeness of the grain comes if you have not polished it. And I hope we are going to
Yeah, so yeah,
show
I'll
the
follow this up with another question. Someone was asking what's the difference between buchi processed and an unpolished millet? Is are they the same? So
yes,
yeah, so buchi method of processing or dehusking a millet is,
very mild,
yeah, is a
gentle
gentle way where we use a slightly altered mixer.
RPM
Yeah, so where the rpm has been reduced in a usual mixie which you use in your kitchen, and the blade has been made blunt,
blunt
so with minimum machinery being used and a very mild and gentle way of just removing the
husk,
outer husk of the millet without disturbing the
upper
inner
layer,
upper layer of outer fiber, which has the most medicinal property, which is rich in lignans, which is what helps
lignans,
lignans which helps in curing cancer, which helps in curing mentally
SLE.
retarded children, which helps. So this is the most medicinal property in the millet, is in the outer fiber. So if you have any of these serious chronic conditions, it is best for you to use buchi processed millet. But even if not, make sure you're not using polished millets, because it's not going to be of much use. Make sure it's at least unpolished. The smaller the machinery used, the least processing, the healthier it's going to
So the
be.
big machines, when they are processing tons of it in a day, what happens? They're using higher torque pressure and big polymer coatings, and a lot of technological issues come into picture. So you are going to remove most of the polish or even some layers of the grain. Still, they are not bad. Okay, for
Mhm.
general use it's okay, no, nothing to worry about. But then if you are having SLE to come out, you have cancer to come out, we would certainly want you to use
Buchi
Buchi
process.
method. And if Buchi method is not there in the villages and other places, we used to actually pound, chucky, all that simple procedures by using hand without heavy
Machinery.
machinery. That is also good. Yeah.
Okay. So the next question is that uh, a lady who has been using millets from the past 2 years just has detected pregnancy and is not able to bear the smell of millets in the past few weeks because of being pregnant. So she's
That's
asking
not
what to
only
do.
for millets, for
Yeah.
any food that is there, and there are simple methods of getting rid of it. Just go to a homeo doctor, he will remove that problem in 2 days.
So it's not a problem with
Of
the millets. I
millets
think it's just the state condition in which
condition,
you
the
are, the
hormonal
high hormonal changes
hike in the
happening in
hormonal
the
change.
body, which cause nausea to even slight smells,
And generally, you can eat raw mango or
sour
lemon,
things,
sour things set you right.
to set right that nauseating feeling. And I think it will pass soon. It's
It will.
just for the first trimester, which
And
it usually
the
lasts.
kashayam, hunge kashayam,
Yeah,
pongemia,
pongemia decoction will also help to get over
karanj in
this.
Hindi,
Karanj in Hindi will also help to get over
kanuga,
this condition.
honge.
Yeah. So viewers from different languages, so we're trying to use all the languages we know to answer the question. So don't change over just because of this short period. Continue to
It's
eat
not due to
millets.
millets, it
Yeah.
is due to your condition
Yeah,
that
so
happens.
make sure someone else is cooking for you, and after at least half
Set
an
is
hour to 1 hour it sets, the smell will become minimal. You can add whatever other spices to garnish and mask the smell if you're finding it's nauseating. But do stick on to millets because it's going to really help in the baby's growth. It's the best food for a pregnant woman, so do try to continue
and
eating
within
millets.
2 3 days we'll be all right. Just seek a good homeo doctor's help. Go
Okay.
ahead.
So the next question was, How do millets help in genetic conditions? So do they actually, whether oils, millets, or the kashayams, act on the genome itself? This was a question by someone who had muscular dystrophy, which is a genetic condition, but I generalized it for other people also having other genetic conditions.
We per se do not have any strict studies done, but then we have been watching lot of so-called genetically disturbed diseases, progressive diseases like muscular dystrophy, SLE, autoimmune diseases, and including the autism. All these cases, people have been reporting very good results. So obviously, millets, due to its inherent cleaning capacity, which is not there in many of the grains, seem to be helping in the level of genes also. So the new information that is coming up because of the cleaned condition of the body, the cells are getting the problems corrected, obviously. So how and to what extent, whether it is in the opening of the genes or all those issues have to be settled in the future by diligent experiments.
Yes, that should.
Yeah, that should.
So, I think someone had correctly put it as your genes are like a loaded gun. Whether you fire that gun or retain the bullets inside depends on your lifestyle. So, even in genetic conditions, to what degree you have the disease, to what degree you suffer from the disease, how fast it progresses, all depends on
On
your
the
lifestyle,
environment
on
that you are
your,
providing
yeah,
to your
what you
cells.
do, what you eat, and all those lifestyle conditions is what decides all these things. So it will not probably change your genes, but to what extent the
They
diseased
express.
genes are expressed depends on what you eat. And
Say if you are not sleeping at all, going to parties, certainly your genes are not going to cooperate with you. Your disease is going to progress faster. So go and drink alcohol, smoke, have drugs, and all this, eating meat, all these things are not going to help you. So if you get back to the good lifestyle of sleeping well and providing vitamin D, getting up in the morning, seeing the sun, all these good habits are going to certainly help
help
you.
you to
Yeah.
what depends what extent depending on the condition, but it's surely going to help you is what we can say. Okay, another important question from many people is that different people in the family are having different conditions, and it's becoming difficult to cook millets for each person separately in a day.
Yeah,
So
it's a
what,
practical problem.
yeah, so what protocol do we follow if different people have different
Yeah, kashayams, you need to have individual kashayams because a thyroid patient has to have different kashayams and a cancer patient has to have different kashayams. But meals wise, you can just generalize and say every 2 days, all the 5 grains alternate. That would
or,
fit everyone.
yeah, or if you have one person who has a very serious condition like a cancer patient in the family, I think everyone else following the same
Same protocol
protocol will be helpful for
for
everyone.
everyone.
So choose the most serious disease
To
amongst the
the people,
family members, or if everyone is having a mild condition,
patient,
then 2 days of each millet will do. But ensure that the decoctions you are following each for individually,
individual,
that you will have to do separately.
separate.
Okay,
So
so
if you have 5 people in the house, 5 different diseases. One has thyroid, one has BP, one has diabetes, one has kidney problem. Though it is very rare to have that because you will have BP and diabetes and the
multiple
kidney problem
conditions.
and diabetes like that. So, but imagine you have 4 distinct different diseases. Then you have to make 4 distinct different kashayam patterns for each one.
The question also extends to a single person having multiple conditions. So, if a person has thyroid, BP, and diabetes, then which protocol to follow is a confusion which many people have. So, again, similarly, choose the most severe condition which you have. What is troubling you the most at present? Follow that protocol for the first 3 months, and then the next 3 months you can go to the other
So
condition
now
which you
I'll give
have.
you an example. You have thyroid problem, you have BP problem, you have diabetes problem. Same person has all the 3 problems. So without winking an eye, just follow the thyroid protocol, which will cover all the issues. Then after 3 to 4 months, maybe thyroid is completely gone. Then you switch to diabetes protocol, like that.
Another example I can say is someone having nerve uh, neuropathy because of diabetes and having some retinopathy in problem in the eye. Both are a result of having high diabetes. So find the root cause. The root cause is diabetes. So you need to follow the diabetes protocol first for the first 3 months, and then you can go on to the nerve protocol or to the eye protocol. So it's difficult to give a generalized answer. You will need to look into the root cause of the problem. So someone said they have adenomyosis, they have fibroadenoma, and they have endometriosis. What do we follow? So all of these, the root problem is a hormonal
Hormone
imbalance.
imbalance.
So you need to follow the hormone
Hormone.
imbalance protocol. Another person was asking they have cancer of the lung which has spread to the bone. So which protocol to follow? So bone is a deeper part of your body, so you need to follow the bone protocol first. So it's difficult to give a generalized answer, but in general I think what you need to follow is whichever is more serious, whichever is deeper rooted, whichever is the base cause, you need to follow that protocol.
Exactly.
That's the general guidelines which we can suggest. Okay, so moving on to two questions regarding oils. I think we had a detailed discussion
Discussion.
video on oils, so very few questions regarding oils. I'm glad. I think most
So
people's,
you have linked that video again to
yeah,
this.
it's available on Millet Magic. I would suggest everyone to watch the video on oils that we have discussed in detail, and I think almost all topics were already covered there, so very few doubts regarding oils. But just two questions. One very important thing which we missed in our video. So what about reusing oils which has been once used for deep frying? We have spent so much on the oils, they're quite expensive, the garni oils. So I don't feel like throwing it away right away when I've used it once, but then I know that it's not good to refry again in the same oil. So what can we do is the question.
Yeah, one thing if we would urge you to do is when you are deep frying, use an oil which has got a high smoking point like coconut oil, which in general
Safflower oil. These are the
safflower oil
two
too.
oils which are good
Yeah,
for deep frying.
and also add a small bit of turmeric powder when you are using that, so that the anti-carcinogenic properties all around. And then after that, the left out, and once you have done puri, bonda, bhaji, you don't need to reuse it, take to smoking point again. Instead you can use it for making chapatis, or use it on those
Millet chapati.
millet chapati. Chapati doesn't mean only godi chapati,
Wheat
okay?
chapati.
Yeah, so all these things are quite okay, and you can use it for
Yeah. So in
in
places where
places
you're not going to
going to
heat
eat
the oil again,
again.
you can use it like for smearing the idli
The
pan, or while making chapatis.
And there
We,
is
yeah,
enough material all the time with the oil
yeah. So where the oil is not being directly heated
directly
again,
heated.
you can reuse it in such.
Like making curry, you can add little oil, this oil instead of fresh oil,
Yeah.
like that.
Okay. So the next question is, how long can garni oils be stored? Do we need to refrigerate it?
Yeah, it depends, and you see, if you do not have enough supply and you would not be able to get immediately, then you want to get all at a sudden, all in a lot, say 5 liters, 10 liters, and then you want to pack it properly, and you can refrigerate it.
I don't
uh,
think you should
no,
refrigerate
if
oils.
you have packed sealed
You don't
packing,
need to
you don't need
refrigerate.
to refrigerate, but then some people think it is important.
Mm.
And otherwise also, once in a while, if we expose it to sun, if you're living in India, the oils do not go bad. You can extend the shelf life to 6 months to
A year,
almost a year
even a year,
also,
it's fine.
no
Yeah.
problem at all.
So,
And you can just sell. If the rancid smell is coming, please discard. So
Don't depend on the
don't
date for
date, yeah,
the expiry.
expiry,
The rancid smell
and
is
it
a
smell.
good indicator.
And this date of expiry is for the commercial
Commercial purposes,
purposes.
it's a must. It has to
Some it
be
has to be
stamped.
some stamp date has to be stamped. But so don't follow that. So follow your judgment on that particular day. See, you might have bought the oil day before yesterday, and who knows how long it has been sitting in the thing, and then they might have printed the expiry date something. We never know, there might be some water moisture absorbed and then the rancidity could have set in, so you want to be careful with that. So don't depend upon these labels, and so
Yes.
watch yourself.
So what happens is when oils are being extracted, a small amount of water has to be added during the process
Yes,
of
of
extraction.
especially ghani
Yeah.
oils, many oils have been done that way only.
Yeah, so when this water remains in the oil is when it tends to get a rancid smell. So if you have sun dried the oil well for 2 to 3 days, then it should not be a
Absolutely
problem.
no problem.
Yeah, so if you are, even after you have bought the oil, you can just put it in a can with a good open surface area for the lid. Keep it in the sun for once in a month, then you can extend the shelf life of it. Up to
Yes,
8 months to a year should
yes,
not at all be a
absolutely,
problem.
absolutely no problem.
Yeah. Okay. Another question which we got is, if you had to tell in short, why is milk not good for us?
Good.
Okay. So the first problem with milk is that a large amount of hormones are being injected in order to produce the large amount of milk which we are consuming. So the hormone injections given to the cows to produce milk, the residue of the hormones are entering the milk and entering our body and causing a large amount of hormonal imbalance in our body. So this is the top first reason I would say we need to avoid drinking milk. And especially what is available is A1 milk, and A1 milk has been linked to severe conditions like autism, like milk intolerance, like Crohn's disease, etc., etc., etc. So first thing, ensure you're not
Of
having
course,
A1 milk at
a
all.
lot of the girls now menstruating at the age of 8, even 6, is a
Yeah,
connect direct link.
yeah.
So you don't want to do that. And for men, a lot of sperms are just evaporating because of the hormonal imbalance.
So it said that every man today has just half the number of sperms which his
Not even the
grandfather
20
used to
millions,
have.
30 millions they have come to. It should be 120, 150 millions, five times less.
Yeah. So the hormone imbalance is the top reason why you need to stop using milk. Of course, a lot of environmental concerns as well to which are involved, but to pick one top reason, it would be the hormone imbalance which it causes. Okay, and the next question is, are plant-based yogurt and plant-based milk nutritionally and microbially equivalent to which yogurt or milk from cow or from animal?
Absolutely, absolutely. No problem. In fact, we have many varieties like sesame milk, ragi milk, groundnut milk, pine nut milk, you name it. We have at least 20 different kinds of nuts you can make milk, that oily
Coconut milk.
coconut milk, cashew nut milk, badam milk. No, wonderful milks, and all of them can be made into curds. Different kinds of bacteria, especially lactobacillus, is a wonderful way of doing things, and you can just replace wherever you want to use curds of the regular cow's milk or buffalo milk curds. You can always use these
Plant-based
plant-based
and
and
yogurt.
different flavors. You get groundnut curd is good, sesame seed. So you have a lot of varieties in it.
So I would actually say it's not nutritionally equivalent to animal milk, but is even better than,
10 times better.
yes.
10 times better.
Plant-based milk will
Plant-based
be
milk is
better
much better.
nutritionally
Absolutely,
compared to
absolutely,
animal.
absolutely. And you have no toxicity at
Yeah.
all.
So
Absolutely,
minus all the
all
bad
that bad
elements,
elements.
plus plus
Plus,
plus of the
plus.
good elements.
And the basic problem with most of these so-called modern people, especially Westerners and people who have learned from Western science, is that calcium, calcium, calcium. You get calcium from milk. And believe me, it is a scientific myth. There is no calcium in milk. It's only 900 milligrams, and what you get absorbed is
Very
much
less.
less, 180 or so. And you want sesame milk 1 liter, and this milk 1 liter, it is 10 times more. And ragi milk is 3.5 times more calcium, just per se calcium. So you have been fed wrong information all along. Absolutely an agenda of industrial food culture scientists. This is absolute bias. So please unlearn. Milk has no calcium whatsoever compared to the plant-based food material milks. They are thousand times better than this milk for your kid.
Okay. What about soy milk? I think we didn't speak about that, but many
Yes, soya
people,
milk, if you have a non-GMO soya milk, it's as good as many
any
other plant-based. But soya bean half late, it's complete GMO. So we would
genetically modified.
modified
Yeah.
organism. So we do not want soya milk in your kitchen.
So soy milk, many people, especially when you say vegan, the first option everyone goes to is usually soy milk. And we would like to warn people that if it's genetically modified, it's going to do you more harm. Anything where you have meddled with the deepest level of the organism is the genes, and if you're meddling with that, you're modifying that, it can surely not be healthy for you. So
Especially soybean, you have an herbicide resistant gene incorporated in that. So that's going to invite a chemical which is very toxic and carcinogenic, which can screw up your bone marrow and lead to blood
blood
cancer
cancer.
and further many more cancerous conditions. So I would certainly want all the people who are watching the show to avoid soya, even the word.
Okay. So, a few general questions
Yes.
which I could compile. Is it good to drink honey and lemon water?
Once in a while, tastes good if you are sure of your honey.
Yeah, so
Honey is nowadays not available.
pure honey.
Pure honey.
The honeybees themselves
Honeybees
are
themselves,
becoming
I think some
extinct.
only 3 to 5% are left over all over the world due to our so-called modern agricultural practices and deforestation.
We don't have
We don't
flowering
we
plants,
don't
so
flowering
how do you
plants.
expect
Yeah,
bees to survive?
the flora is completely out of whack. So you want to really create forests before you think you are going to get real honey. So uh, honey in whatever water or lemon or things like that. I would rather ask you to take palm jaggery's syrup with honey if you are interested in
With lemon.
with lemon. Yeah, and honey I also like it, but I don't think you have the pure form of it available now. And the way they are supplying in big bazaars and big markets online, please be careful.
Yeah, but I think the question would be more of, is it good to have it every day?
No,
For
nothing is good for you to have every day,
yeah,
including the kashayams, which are very good. See, gilai is very good. That doesn't mean you go on drinking gilai to 365 days. Then you will end up in trouble. So you want to keep rotating. So even if honey in with lemon water is good for you, it should not be beyond a week or so. So if you are sure you are getting the pure honey and you want to drink, so keep rotating. Drink for a week in a month, and then after 2 3 months again you can repeat.
yeah. So nothing should be taken every single day.
Day
Do not make it a habit to
daily.
drink every day
Day. See that,
water.
yeah, daily if you do this, that means that fellow has an agenda of selling it all the time. Huh? Please be careful.
And the follow-up question to that was, is it true that lemon and honey lose their properties when heated? Yes, they do get destroyed when you heat them.
Yeah.
That's
Honey
why,
especially should not be
yeah,
heated.
even lemon. That's why we usually squeeze
Squeeze it
lemon at the end,
and
like while garnishing salads or while just before serving a dish, not directly add lemon juice while cooking. So Yes, that is true that it's not good to
Not
heat.
only that, when you have proteins, when you keep boiling with the lemon or some acid, the structure of the protein starts getting distorted.
Change.
Yeah, I mean, which you can watch when you are actually making paneer. When you heat milk and then squeeze lemon and boil it,
Breaks.
it just coagulates. Everything starts precipitating. So you do not want to do that when you are eating food. So that's why you don't want to boil. And that is the reason why you do not want to boil lemon,
Other food
other food
substances with
sources with
lemon.
lemon.
Okay. So someone has asked if the carbon from charred chapati and corn is the main reason for cancer. Can it cause
No, no,
cancer?
no. That's absolutely a bogus stuff. Nothing like that. In fact, charred carbons, just carbon per se, whether it is from vegetable source or even animal source, is not going to cause cancer if it is carbon. But associated with that, there are many half oxygenated and not completely burnt. Those are the things that are going to cause some troubles. But then burnt chapati, cancer, no, no, not at all. Absolutely not.
Okay. Another question was, can we use artificial sweeteners?
No, answer is no. That's it.
You'll need to say why.
I'm not interested in even eating sugar because it pumps
Glucose.
glucose into large quantities in our body. And artificial sweeteners are basically aromatic chemicals which have got,
Carcinogenic
yeah, their own
side
side
effects.
effects and imbalances that can create in many of the biochemical processes. If not cancer, they can screw up your biological processes. So
Cancer is a possible effect of
possible
using
effect,
artificial
artificial
sweeteners for a
sweeteners.
long time.
And even there are nowadays so-called natural sweeteners like
Yeah, that's
stevia.
the next
Yeah,
question.
those things. Stevia also is not sweet because it has got fructose or this or that. It has got also got a chemical which tends to touch your sweet taste
Taste
buds.
buds.
So that's how that is also another aromatic chemical. So once in a while, it's okay.
Stevia is better
Stevia is
than an
better than
artificial
artificial
sweetener.
sweetener. But then if you want to continuously, like daily honey in lemon water, like this, daily in stevia in your
Daily coffee tea.
coffee tea, is
Stevia.
a big no-no. It's going to be more
Some other
troublesome.
kind
Yeah,
of
some
trouble.
other kind of stuff. Don't want to do that. Stevia is okay once in a while, nothing to worry. But then let it not be a habit for me.
Okay. So another question is, how does dishwashing soap harm us?
Yeah, it's a residual effects. It's not that if you are washing it clean thoroughly, it's not going to harm us. But tend to, especially foreigners, I mean Europeans and Americans tend to do their dishes in the washing machine,
Dishwashing. Washing
or
machine.
dishwashers and all that.
Yeah.
So they can only do so much. But
Yeah.
then if you're individually washing each of your plate and cleaning
With water.
thoroughly water and make sure that no deposits are there, and it's an accumulated process, it is actually um, over rated. I mean, people are seeing too
Yeah.
much into it. So if you wash clearly, nothing should be a problem.
It's just that the
Just that
soap
soap
has some chemical
chemical in it.
contents in
Yeah,
it, and that when you're exposed to it every single day, if
day
the residues build up, it can be harmful.
harmful.
So that's the answer for
That's the
that.
answer.
Yeah.
So if you can clean well with fresh water without having any residues of the soap left over on your dishes, okay.
Okay. So another question was, we have been suggesting that for vitamin D, we expose ourselves
Abs-
to early
Absolutely.
morning and sunset and sunrise
Yes.
time, the sun rays. But other scientific studies saying that 11 a.m. to 1 p.m.
Oh,
is
their
the
studies
ideal
are
sun.
done in above the northern hemisphere. So
About
that is, I mean, above the equator and all that. That's 11 because they hardly get sun. and they don't have the real sunrise and sun time set like India and the equator plains. So it's not necessary that for India and the countries
Tropical
near tropical
countries.
countries, perfect vitamin D, sunrise and sunset. Absolutely no problems at all. And even in America, if you actually can catch the sunrise and sunset, you are good to go. You don't need to go between 11 and 4 or 5. And there are some studies saying that the same sun can cause cancer, the skin. I am not so sure about all that. See,
So
if you actually apply a little bit of coconut oil or sesame seed oil and go into sun, you will have good amount of vitamin D. And if you expose yourself 2 or 3 days in a week, your vitamin D is going to be stored in your liver, and then you are good to go. So that difference is there. And the problem with Europeans and Americans is their sunrise and sunset timings are very
changing
changing.
depending on the
Yeah,
season.
so
In
harsh.
certain regions,
No, in India especially, never ever go in between 11 and 1 p.m. You will
so,
get sunstroke.
so the too harsh sun can be harmful,
Harmful.
but early morning and sunset time is always mild and more than sufficient to produce vitamin D in the body.
Vitamin D.
Yeah, with vitamin D in our body. Okay. The next question was people.
Yeah, otherwise, say nowadays all fellows are going to software, not seeing sun and apartment culture, and they're not exposed to sun. What do you want to do? You want to have only one natural method, which is a practice of many countries which do not have enough sun months together. They dry their mushrooms. Mushrooms have got a chemical called ergosterol, which turns itself into vitamin D on exposure to sun. So anywhere, any part of the world, you can do the same trick. So all the software engineers, all the people who work in the night, don't get up in the morning, go to parties, and vitamin D is. I'm very serious about it. Don't go to parties is very important.
You're bringing that up
Yeah, of
everywhere.
course. That's causing a lot of trouble for everyone.
Okay.
So dry your mushrooms, all edible mushrooms, okay? Because there are some poisonous
Poisonous.
mushrooms, so you want to be careful. Get the edible mushrooms and then dry them. Generally, if you dry 1 kilo of mushroom, it comes to almost 100 grams. So when you again soak them in water, it absorbs and then swells up to for 500 to 600 grams. So that 1 kilo dried and re hydrated mushroom is good for you for a week's time. So if you eat that 100 grams of mushroom 2 or 3 times in a week, you will get back your vitamin D supplements natural way.
Okay. So another question was people using bore water, where especially in apartments, most of
Mm.
them are using borewell water, which is quite hard. And their question was, is copper treatment sufficient for hard water, or do they need to pass it through an RO filter and then treat it with copper? That was the question.
No, you see the problem with it depends on the TDS value. If it is beyond 300, then you need to remove the salts. But then the
Would
RO
not be the
filters,
ideal way.
ideal thing, they remove totally. They get to some 30 or 20 like that. So this way, that way is not good. So 100 to 300, 300 is
TDS.
also a little high according to me. 100 to 250. Why this 100 to 250? It's because our living cells have got that concentration of the
Salts.
salts. So you use anything lower or higher, then the
Body salts tend to
salts
move
tend to
in and
move,
out.
and then you create a potential and you have a problem there.
Yes.
So that is the reason why you have the TDS range.
Yeah. So
So
TDS is total
total
dissolved
dissolved
salt
solids,
solvent
salts,
solubles.
salts or solids.
Okay.
Okay, and that is very important parameter.
Mhm.
So copper plate, what it does is it removes some of the chemicals, it kills the bacteria, it kills the viruses,
It removes the
it
plastic.
it removes the plastic, it does lot of things. But then TDS, if you have the borewell water
High
nowadays
TDS.
800 900, I don't think copper plate will help you. But there are certain methods of three-pot methods and passing it through the activated carbon,
Yeah.
charcoal, sand, and things like that. That way you can reduce. And there are also natural methods like moringa seeds. If you have 10 liters of this TDS high, you can actually take quarter kilo of moringa seeds, powder them, and add it, and then leave it for 5 to 6 hours of stirring, and then lot of TDS comes down, and that water after filtering you can actually pass through this copper plate, then you are good to go.
So
But you need to have good amount
that's
of
difficult to do.
every
Yeah.
day get
So
moringa
I
seeds.
think the ideal practical solution would be to use filters,
Normal
not
filters,
RO
not
filters. So before the RO gen filters came in, we had regular candle filters,
candle
which
filters,
will reduce the
this
TDS
TDS.
and then treat it with copper.
Nowadays you have got this TDS checking machines,
Yes.
simple hand machines. So you go through those tests.
Yeah.
But ultimately, you want to put your water before you consume or cook through copper plate.
Yes. Okay. So another question was that someone somewhere had read that each person's gut is unique and it determines their personality because of the microbial flora in the gut, which is true. Yes, your microbial content in the gut does have an effect on your mental state, on your moods. Yes, that is true. The question was that since each person needs a different kind of individual characteristic, he has it, so each person's gut also needs to have a different kind of bacterial flora. So how does everyone consuming the same fermented porridge help them, and is it required to take fermented porridge, or should we depend on our own gut to form microbes itself in the gut when the food is slowly passing through the intestine?
Now, there is a slight problem in that question.
Yeah.
Each individual human body doesn't have different kinds of microbes. There is a set of microbes for each particular species of
Yes.
animals. So we actually
It's
human,
different from for a
ah,
human and a cow, or a,
cow to rabbit,
yeah,
rabbit to
dog, cat,
horse,
it'll be different.
yeah, like that. So
But in humans it's a
generally
a
it is
group,
a
a
group
set.
of set. So maybe they are varied, and the complexity is much more in human gut. We do agree with that, but it doesn't mean that it is completely different from person to
One
person.
person to another.
The contents may be different. Say now I am in South India, I eat more of tandura, I eat more of lady's finger. So the associated prebiotic condition of this vegetable tend to harbor more of that. And then a person who does not eat vegetables at all, there are fellows just eating chapati and aloo gade, uh, they have less microbes. So obviously that fellow is going to be having a lot of troubles in his mind, because lot of microbes create lot of biochemicals and make your moods sober and
Stabilized.
stabilize and things like that. So, and say you go to mountainous areas, so the vegetables you get there are different. So all said and done, if you actually have these five positive grains porridge, and that's why we're saying all the five grains different microbes they harbor. So you are going to get varied kinds of microbial populations in your gut by eating different kinds of grains, different kinds of vegetables, different kinds of fruits, different kinds of pickles. Pickles per se do not have much, but they also tend to give you some microbes at the end of the day. So all these things are as a whole determined. So that's why your food has to be diversified.
So of late, the kind of food which we are eating, the antibiotics which we are taking, the chemicals which we are exposing ourselves to,
The meat, the egg, the milk has lot of residues of these antibiotics. So
so
you are
all these
cleaning,
are killing the
killing
gut
that
bacteria.
bacteria.
So it then becomes very much necessary to have fermented porridge to give the dose of probiotics from the external source, because we are continuously killing
Killing.
that which is there in the gut. So constantly
Every
providing
day,
it externally
one
has
tumbler of,
become necessary.
yeah, porridge,
Yeah.
fermented porridge, ambali is very, very good for you.
Yeah.
And especially people who are sick, trying to become healthy, it's Very important for them to follow this rule.
And in spite of that, at the end of the day, though everyone has the same cup of fermented porridge, how your body promotes which kind of bacteria to
Bacteria.
grow more, that again becomes individualistic inside each person's body.
So over a period of 2 to 3 years of these habits, good habits, you will stabilize.
Yeah. Okay. Another question was, how does watching a screen or a phone for a prolonged period, like 4 to 5 hours, they say it causes sleeplessness. Is it true? And how does this happen?
It's very simple. Our eyes are designed not to see direct light. Watching a phone, watching a TV screen, uh, watching lights of any kind, the source of light, whether it is small or big, is not the way we are designed. We are designed, our eyes are designed to watch the reflected light. That is the design of our eyes. So that's why it's good for us to watch moon, not sun,
For a long
for a
time.
long time. So that's why moon is good, sun is not good to our eyes, especially open eyes. So early morning, mild sun is okay, the sunrise and sunset. But beyond that, you do not want to see sun directly because our eyes are not designed. And because the power of the
Screens.
screens are very low, you seem to be okay temporarily. But then over a period of long exposure, obviously it is going to may not you may not become blind, but some nervous tension is
Changes.
created and it can be transferred to pain of some other part in your body. It's not ergonomical I'm talking about. See, sitting in the screen and watching them typing, the ergonomical pains come. I'm not talking about that. By just watching, we do, I just sit and watch the TV for a long time, I will have problems. Though I'm very comfortable. ಸುಖಾಸನದಲ್ಲಿ ಕೂತ್ಕೊಂಡು, even if I'm sitting in a very comfortable position and watching TV for more than 5 6 hours, you can get pains, you can get your digestive system deranged, or your nervous, you may not be able to sign after some time. Things like that can happen to you. So depending upon the condition of your body, precondition of your body, certainly you want to restrict your screen time, whether it is a smartphone or a TV or tablet or whatever computers. um,
Continuously
Continuously
stimulating your
stimulate.
rods and
Yes,
cones will cause your brain to be active. So
yes.
if you're especially doing this just prior to sleeping, then the brain to shut down and sleep becomes very difficult. So at
And serotonin has to become melatonin. That happens only in dark. Not only the light, even the vibrations from Wi-Fi, radar, microwaves, radio waves, all these things are going to disturb you. So I'm extending your question. It is not just light, source of light. It is even our body, even the skin, even the cells have different set of conditions designed not to have all these unnecessary, unwanted, artificial vibrations all the time going around. So if your actually house is near a high voltage, oh, you will have problems sooner or later. So all these things are very important. So you make a scientific and well informed judgments about your kids growing up properly, and that's why it's very important to be in natural setups. So if you can get time, simply take your kids to a forest atmosphere. Spending at least 5 to 10 hours in a forest weekly once will rejuvenate your system in different dimensions. That's very, very important. Let all people be reminded with this particular comment.
Okay, this question was in Telugu. That I'll first say
Yeah,
it in English. You can answer in
tell
Telugu.
me.
That uh, we have porridge, fermented porridge, which is made in the morning. We are consuming it in the night, and that which we cook in the night, we are consuming it in the morning. What about this afternoon meal? What do we do for that? We have been asked to have all 3 meals porridge for a severe condition. So
Yeah.
which porridge do I consume in the afternoon? So
Yeah,
this
that
was
is
the
very
question.
simple to answer. Telugulo చెప్పాలా?
First answer in English.
Okay, okay.
Let's
Yeah, so the answer is very simple. And if your weather conditions are like rainy season and winter season, whatever you soak in the morning, cook in the night, tie the cloth, and morning porridge you are drinking, the same thing can be taken
kept
in the
for the
afternoon
afternoon
also.
as well.
No problem. Absolutely no problem. But then if your time is
Hot
hot
summer.
summer day, especially Gunturu, Vijayawada, that kind of places, what you want to do is actually soak in the night, cook in the morning, and by 2 o'clock the fermented porridge is ready. So you can take that. And what else?
I
That's
think
all.
the
The answer is
question
very
would
simple.
be like, can we refrigerate them?
Yeah, yeah, I don't want to refrigerate. I don't like
No,
refrigeration.
practically, sometimes
Practically, yeah,
you
sometimes. But
can
then what happens actually is that in the refrigerated, the microbes start going to
hibernated state.
hibernated state, and then if you want, again you cannot heat them when you, so it's a screwed up ambali. That's all I can tell.
You can
You
keep it,
can
if you
keep it
keep it in the fridge, then make sure you take it out
out
and
and
keep it
again
at room
room temperature
temperature
for 1 or 2
for
hours
2 hours before
before
consuming it, and make sure you're not heating it
heating it
again
again.
directly on the stove and killing the probiotics. So
Or you can keep it in warm water, the
yeah,
vessel in the, so the double
don't directly double
direct.
boil it, just
Yeah,
keep it in a bowl of warm
warm
water to
water.
bring it to
So
room temperature again. So this
now
would
I
be
know
one.
these are all questions related to practical
Yeah.
aspects, but then you can overcome by little attention. You need to spare more time. That's all.
Okay. So I'm moving on to certain question. Okay, yeah. Sorry.
తెలుగులో చెప్పమ్మా. నేను చెప్పనా? ఓకే. ఏం లేదు. మీరు విజయవాడ, గుంటూరు, విశాఖపట్నం లాంటి ప్రదేశాల్లో ఉంటే సమ్మర్‌లో మీకేమీ ఇబ్బంది లేదు. రాత్రి ఉడకపెట్టిన
నానబెట్టి.
లేదు. రాత్రి నానబెట్టి, ఉదయం ఉడకబెట్టి, బట్ట కట్టేస్తే మధ్యాహ్నానికి 2 గంటలకి రెడీ అవుతుంది అంబలి. ఎందుకంటే, ఆ వేడికి తొందరగానే ఫర్మెంటేషన్, పులిసే కార్యక్రమం జరుగుతుంది. సో, మామూలుగా చలికాలము, వానాకాలంలో అయితే వేడి ఎక్కువగా లేనప్పుడు మీరు ఉదయం నానబెట్టి, రాత్రికి ఉడకపెట్టి, పొద్దున తాగుతారు కదా! అదే అంబలి మధ్యాహ్నానికి కూడా అవుతుంది. ఏమీ ఇబ్బంది ఉండదు. అంతగా పులిసే పరిస్థితులేమి, సందర్భమేమి ఉండదు కాబట్టి, మీరు రాత్రి ఉడకబెట్టింది పొద్దున తాగొచ్చు, మధ్యాహ్నం కూడా తాగొచ్చు. మళ్ళా రాత్రికి బాగా పులిసిపోవచ్చది. కాబట్టి
కొత్తగా చేసి.
రాత్రికి పొద్దున ఉడకపెట్టింది కట్టి పెట్టేస్తే రాత్రికి రెడీగా ఉంటుంది. సో, ఆ ప్రాబ్లమ్ అలా సాల్వ్ చేసుకోవచ్చు. ఫ్రిడ్జ్‌లో పెట్టి తాగొచ్చా అంటే, ఫ్రిడ్జ్‌లో పెట్టేటప్పుడు ఏమవుతుందంటే, మైక్రోబ్స్ ఆ లోవర్ టెంపరేచర్‌కి తక్కువ యాక్టివిటీకి వచ్చేస్తాయి. మళ్ళా మీరు ఫ్రిడ్జ్ నుంచి తీసి వెంటనే తాగితే అది సరిగ్గా ఉండదు. సడెన్‌గా పొట్టలో వేడి ఎక్కువవుతుంది దానికి. సో, ఇట్స్ నాట్ గుడ్. షాక్ అవుతుంది. కాబట్టి మీరు ఫ్రిడ్జ్ నుంచి బయటికి పెట్టి ఒక 2 గంటలు ఉన్న తర్వాత మళ్ళా దాన్ని తీసుకోవడంతో ఓకే అనిపిస్తుంది. బట్
డైరెక్ట్ గా హీట్
హీట్
చేయకూడదు.
చేయొద్దండి.
స్టవ్ పైన హీట్
హీట్
చేయకూడదు.
చేయకూడదు. పర్సనల్‌గా నాకు ఫ్రిడ్జ్‌లో పెట్టడం ఇష్టం లేదు. బట్ ప్రాక్టికల్‌గా ఇట్స్ ఓకే. బట్ దిస్ ఈస్ వాట్ ఇట్ ఈస్ మీ అంబలి అంత యాక్టివ్‌గా ఉండదు. అర్థమైందా? సో, జాగ్రత్తగా ఉండండి.
Okay. Another question someone asked was, Indian spices have medicinal properties. So is it okay to consume them on a regular basis? And if we are using them on an everyday basis, won't we be deprived of the medicinal properties when we require them? That is the question.
Yes, if you are using the same spice, same time, same thing every day and night, it's not good. But then Indian spices are so diversified, so many of them, and depends on each local areas. So absolutely no problem. And then we are using them in different quantities. So
Proportions.
depending upon the dish, we use more of fenugreek. Depending on the, we use sesame seed. We depending on the things, we use mustard. We use turmeric. We use garlic. We use ginger. We use like this. I can go on mentioning different. And I don't like present day. There is a tendency of making masala dabbis already pre-mixed, so that you are going to be in trouble because that's not going to work for you as healing thing, because it's going to see you the same concentration, same mix, same thing you're going to add and add. So
That
making
won't
it
be good.
processed and make packeted foods are not good in that technical reason also. See, imagine today you want to make bisivele bath. You are roasting, doing everything and make a powder, and the next day you go, after a week you make, you're not going to have the same thing, same concentrations exactly. But if a machine makes, or if you're making large quantities, measured everything, so the ratios are all going to be the same. So pre-conditioned, pre-made stuff is not good for that reason. So the diversity, even among the concentrations of the spices that you are using, so that's the way you want to cook. So don't use the same spice. So if you use today for your kara, green chili, next day you use
Red
red
chili,
chili, and the next day you
pepper,
use ginger, next day you use lavang, clove, next day you use
black pepper.
black pepper. So like this, there are varieties, and the same way for sour materials, tomato, gooseberry, lemon, mango, gongura, like that. So you don't want to use the same things on a daily basis. This question we have answered with reference to honey and
Variety,
yeah,
using more
where yeah,
variety.
the same answer comes here.
Okay. So,
And believe me, the spices you are not going to use in large quantities. These are all small catalytic properties, especially curcumin, ginger, all these things, especially the garlic one, allicin. These are all going to set up the reactions or remove the toxic things. So they are needing them in very small quantities, not large quantities. See, garlic you cannot eat this much. So they are all very active principles which you have to consume in small quantities.
okay. So I'm moving on to a few disease related questions. So,
Which most of it we have got in the form of
yes,
protocols.
yes.
So you could actually mention them, that they should follow the particular
Yeah.
protocols.
So in the description box
Yes,
below, we have a lot of the protocols mentioned in all languages. So please look into them. Yeah, we have the Kannada book, Telugu book, English book, Hindi
Hindi
book
book.
available in the description box. The soft copy is there, free to download and free to share for everyone. So please make use of it. And yeah, so one of the questions which I found is that someone has said that they have their diabetes has drastically reduced, but the thyroid continues to persist in spite of using millets. So I would like to answer to this by saying that of late, the level of thyroid mentioned in the reports as normal, they have been bringing it down day by day, year by year. So even today, you can see in some places in India, the normal range of TSH will be 5. But if you go abroad, they say 3.5 or 4. So this is being done so that,
Actually, in Bangalore labs, they are mentioning 4.2.
yeah.
In Mysore lab, it is 6.2.
Yeah, so each lab they are slowly reducing the TSH so that more and more people fall under the category of having thyroid problem, and more people start using medication, and it's a lifelong medication which is prescribed for thyroid. So actually you do not need to worry as long as your TSH is under 12, so you are not going to have any problems. So the normal range just few years back, 3 years back, it was 8, and a little before that it used to be 10, and little before that 12. So up to 12 there is no problem of your TSH, no thyroid issue at all.
And thyroid patients, even if you have 12 or 8 or 6, and you think you have problem, personally, I have seen many people. Once they are labeled with these doctors or thyroid patients, they, even if their thyroid has come to 2, after coming to our clinic, they continue say, I'm a thyroid patient. So please, you can actually just drink Niger seed oil and coconut oil alternatively every week. For a few more months, you will have perfect body health, nothing to worry. So first you have to unlearn that you are a patient. Once you are better, you are a healthy person. So this unlearning is very important. But the sad story is present today you are labeled. You are a BP patient, you are a diabetic patient, and You go and ask these doctors, they say you're lifelong. That's why people carry this image that they are patient forever. And that should be first unlearned, because now we have methods of getting rid of all these so called chronic diseases by just changing your lifestyle. And that is the future. That is the future.
Okay. So, a lot of people asking about type 1 diabetes. So, I think we should answer that again.
Go
So,
ahead. Go ahead.
yeah. So, type 1 diabetes, in especially children, parents being very much concerned about that. The protocol of millets is the same. You need to follow 2 days each of all the millets. The kashayams are also the same. The decoctions are the same as type 1 diabetes. An additional thing which is very important for type 1 diabetes would be the oils. So, consuming ghani oils like coconut oil, Niger
Nitrous,
oil, and
sesame.
sesame oil, 2 spoons of this oil on empty stomach every day in rotation, each one for a week, is very important to stimulate the pancreas again to produce
Not
insulin.
only pancreas, many of the endocrine
Yeah,
gland systems.
all
Yes.
hormone related complaints. So this would be an additional thing which you need to do if you have a child having type 1 diabetes. And I would also like to point out that usually as the kid grows, if they are not on this lifestyle, their units of insulin tend to keep rising. So if they start off with 5 units of insulin, as they grow the requirement grows, and by the time they reach the age of 15, 16, adolescents, they're around 40 units of insulin, and they soon end up with the problems of side effects of insulin. So even with the millet diet, some of the children have been able to get rid of insulin completely. Some may still require a minimum dose of insulin to be given, but even these children do not have problems with growing problems. Many of them, if not on this lifestyle, tend to have a stunted growth, tend to have problems when they're reproductive, like girls not having their menses properly. So all these kind of problems can be avoided by using millets, and even the reduction in insulin units,
Oops. As
and
they
some
grow.
even as they grow have been able to get rid of insulin
Yeah,
completely
completely.
in,
Completely. Without insulin, now
yeah,
their kids happily living.
in a span of 2 years they can be doing that.
Sometimes 3, 4 years also it may take. Yeah.
So it's not
So
that.
in juvenile diabetes, the time period for healing may take longer. Say now, a fellow who is 28-year-old comes and says diabetic. Hundreds of patients have come out of that condition in a matter of 3 months to 6 months. But then we have 100 juvenile diabetic cases. The time period is much protracted, like 3 years, 4 years sometimes. So you want to have that information already, especially parents are impatient, and we do understand that, but then the nature of the beast is that we need time.
So even if the level of insulin is not rising as the child grows,
That
it's a
itself is a
huge
good
success.
yeah, huge
What you're
success.
doing is
Yeah.
really working. Okay. Another question was repeated infection of the tooth, and we usually suggest charcoal powder, activated charcoal, to be used to brush the teeth. And other than that, what else can be done is a question which has come up.
Especially pongemia leaves and
Stem.
stem, goa leaves and stem, they work wonders. Of course, to relieve the pain, you have the clove oil and all that. They are very long, old
Known,
remedies.
well
Yeah,
known
well known
remedies.
remedies.
To reduce
To
the infection, you
infection,
can chew on pongemia
open.
sticks or
Yes,
pongemia leaves
yes.
or neem stick and neem leaves. So when you do this, your infection tends to reduce. So daily you can just have one stick of pongemia, chew it so that the juice is released in your mouth for 5 to 10 minutes, and then wash your mouth.
Even
This will also help.
neem
Yeah,
sticks.
neem
Neem
sticks.
sticks are good. And in the northern India, there is a tree
Babul,
called babul of miswak.
meswak.
Yeah,
So all these
all these
can
are very good stuff.
additionally help to
And the
cleanse the
first
mouth.
and foremost important thing is you do not want to eat chocolates,
Sugar.
sugar, cakes, all this nonsense. You have to get out of.
Yeah. Okay. The next question was in Kannada. So I'll
ಹ್ಮ್.
first we'll
ಹೇಳಿ
first
ಹೇಳಿ
have
ಹೇಳಿ.
it in English and then repeat it in
ಓಕೆ
Kannada.
ಓಕೆ.
So children having autism and convulsions and or mental retardation. So these kind of children, I think we have protocols
Yeah, we
written
have
for that,
protocol
but
differently
yeah,
abled.
yes. But let's just revisit in short.
Yeah.
Foxtail millet and brown top millet are the two millets which you need to use more. So
The
two
nervous
days,
system is involved
yeah,
in it.
two
Yeah.
days of foxtail millet, 2 days
So
of a brown top
top millet
millet, and the other remaining three positive millets, 1 day each.
each for a week. Yeah.
Strictly only millet diet, not one meal of
Absolutely.
rice, one meal of ragi. You need to get rid of all those things. Next is the decoctions. Ruta graveolens is a very good decoction. Turmeric decoction, dalchini or cinnamon decoction, and Brahmi leaves. I think these four would be the top four
Yes.
decoctions for such children. And then coming to the oils are also very important for such kids because new nerves need to regenerate
Regenerative.
and the nerve connections need to form correctly in such children.
And the nerve sheaths to be cleaned
Yeah, so
for the good
myelination to occur
electrodes.
properly.
Yeah.
So for all this you need good amount
Of
and good quantity
milk.
and quality
Milk.
of fat which you can have by using bull driven ghani
In
oils,
oils.
coconut oil, sesame oil, niger oil, and safflower
Flower.
oil are very good for them. So in rotation use these oils on empty stomach. So yeah, I think that would be the answer for this. You can explain in Kannada.
No, which up? Here.
So here,
ಏನಿಲ್ಲ ಎಣ್ಣೆ ಎದ್ದು ಗಾಣದ್ದು ಮರಗಾಣದ್ದು ಎಣ್ಣೆ ಹುಚ್ಚೆಳ್ಳೆಣ್ಣೆ ಎಳ್ಳೆಣ್ಣೆ ಕುಸುಬೆ ಎಣ್ಣೆ ಕೊಬ್ಬರಿ ಎಣ್ಣೆ ವಾರಕ್ಕೊಮ್ಮೆ ಬದಲಾವಣೆ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ 2-3 ಚಮಚ ಕುಡಿಬೇಕು. ಇದು ಕುಡಿಯೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಮಕ್ಕಳಲ್ಲಿ ಈ ನರ್ವಸ್ ಡಿಸಾರ್ಡರ್ಸು ತುಂಬ ಅಂದರೆ ಆ ಸಿನಾಪ್ಸಿಸ್ಸು ಇವಿ ಎಲ್ಲ ಕಡೆ ಆಲ್ ದ ಥಿಂಗ್ಸ್ ಕನೆಕ್ಟೆಡ್ ಟು ನರ್ವ್ಸ್ ಕ್ಲೀನಿಂಗಿಂದ ಕೊತ್ತ ಕೊತ್ತ ಹೊಸ ಹೊಸದೆಲ್ಲ ಸಿಗೋದು ನಮಗೆ ಈ ಎಣ್ಣೆ ಅಂಶದಿಂದನೇ ಸಿಗೋದು ಮಕ್ಕಳಿಗೆ. ಸೊ ಒಳ್ಳೆ ಕ್ವಾಲಿಟಿ ಹುಚ್ಚೆಳ್ಳೆಣ್ಣೆ ಕೊಬ್ಬರಿ ಎಣ್ಣೆ ಕುಸುಬೆ ಎಣ್ಣೆ ನೀವು
ಎತ್ತುಗಾಣದ್ದು ತುಂಬಾ
ಎತ್ತುಗಾಣದ್ದು
ಜನ ಈಗ
ತುಂಬ ಜನ ಈಗ ಕೋಲ್ಡ್ ಪ್ರೆಸ್
ಕೋಲ್ಡ್
ಹನಿ
ಪ್ರೆಸ್ಡ್ ಅಂತ
ಅಂತ
ಸಿಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ.
ಮಿಷಿನ್ ಓಡಿಸಿದ್ದನ್ನ ಪ್ಲಾಸ್ಟಿಕ್ ಬಾಟ್ಲಲ್ಲಿ ಕೊಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಅದೆಲ್ಲ ತಗೊಳಕ್ ಹೋಗ್ಬೇಡಿ.
ಅದ್ರಲ್ಲಿ ಔಷಧಿ ಗುಣ ಇರೋದಿಲ್ಲ.
ಆಲ್ಮೋಸ್ಟ್ ನಿಲ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬೋದು. ಅದು ಅಡುಗೆ ಮಾಡಿಕೊಂಡು ಅದು ಇದು ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಸರಿಯಾಗಿರ್ಬೋದು. ಬಟ್ ಫಾರ್ ಬೇಬೀಸ್ ಈ ಆಟಿಸಮು ಡಿಫರೆಂಟ್ಲಿ ಏಬಲ್ಡ್ ಕಿಡ್ಸ್ಗೋಸ್ಕರ ನೀವು ಬಳಸಬೇಕಾಗಿದ್ದು ಎದ್ದುಗಾಣದ್ದು ಮರಗಾಣದ್ದು ಖಚಿತವಾಗಿ ಬಳಸಬೇಕು. ಅದ್ರ ಜೊತೆಗೆ ಕೊರ್ಲೆ ಮತ್ತು ನವಣೆ ಈ ಎರಡೆರಡು ದಿವಸ ವಾರದಲ್ಲಿ, ಮಿಕ್ಕಿದ್ದು 3 ಸಾಮೆ ಊದಲು ಮತ್ತು ಆರ್ಕ ಒಂದೊಂದು ದಿವಸ 7 ದಿವಸ ಮತ್ತೆ ರೊಟೇಷನ್ ಸೈಕಲಲ್ಲಿ ಬಳಸ್ತಾ ಬರಬೇಕು. ಜೊತೆಗೆ ಕಷಾಯಗಳು ದಾಲ್ಚಿನ್ನಿ ಚೆಕ್ಕೆ, ಅರಿಶಿನ, ನಾಗದಾಳಿ, ಬ್ರಾಹ್ಮಿ ಈ ಅಂಡ್ ಸಬ್ಸಿಗೆ ಸೊಪ್ಪು ಆಲ್ಸೋ ಒಳ್ಳೆಯದು. ಸಬ್ಸಿಗೆ ಸೊಪ್ಪು ಇನ್ ಇಂಗ್ಲೀಷಲ್ಲಿ ಡಿಲ್ವೀಡ್ ಅಂತಾರೆ. ಸೊ ಈ ಕಷಾಯಗಳನ್ನು ಮಕ್ಕಳಿಗೆ ಬಿಡದೆ ಕುಡಿಸ್ತಾ ಬರಬೇಕು ವಾರ ವಾರ ವಾರ. ಸೊ ಮಧ್ಯದಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ದಿವಸ ಆ ಕಡೆ ಹೋಗಿದ್ವಿ ಪೂರಿ ತಿಂದ್ವಿ, ಗೋಧಿ ಪೂರಿ, ಮತ್ತು ಆ ಮನೆಗೆ ಹೋಗಿದ್ವಿ ಜೋಳದ ರೊಟ್ಟಿ ತಿಂದ್ವಿ, ಆ ಥರದ್ದೆಲ್ಲ ಮಾಡೋಕ್ಕೆ ಹೋಗಬೇಡಿ. ರವೆ ಇಡ್ಲಿ, ರವೆ ಲಡ್ಡು ಇಂಥವೆಲ್ಲ ಮಾಡೋಕ್ಕೆ ಹೋಗಬೇಡಿ. ಸೊ ಕಡ್ಡಾಯವಾಗಿ ಈ ಜೀವನ ಶೈಲಿಯನ್ನು ಪಾಲನೆ ಮಾಡಿದರೆ ತುಂಬ ಮಕ್ಕಳು 6 ತಿಂಗಳಿಂದ 2 ವರ್ಷ ಒಳಗಡೆ ತುಂಬ ಒಳ್ಳೆ ಪಾಸಿಟಿವ್ ರಿಸಲ್ಟನ್ನು ಕಂಡುಕೊಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಜಾಗ್ರತವಾಗಿ ಮಾಡಿ ಸರಿ ಹೋಗುತ್ತೆ.
ಅವ್ರ ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆ, ಮಗುಗೆ ಆಲ್ರೆಡಿ 15 ವರ್ಷ ಆಗಿದೆ, ಈಗ ಉಪಯೋಗ ಇದೆಯಾ?
ಆಗತ್ತೆ. ಇನ್ಫ್ಯಾಕ್ಟ್ 24 ವರ್ಷ ಈ ಮೆಂಟಲಿ ರಿಟಾರ್ಡೆಡ್ ಕಿಡ್ಸೂ ಶುರು ಮಾಡಿ 2-3 ವರ್ಷದಲ್ಲಿ ತುಂಬ ಪ್ರೋಗ್ರೆಸ್ ಕಂಡುಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ.
ನಾರ್ಮಲ್ ಆಗ್ತಾರೆ ಅಂತಲ್ಲ, ಬಟ್ ಅವ್ರಿರೋ ಪರಿಸ್ಥಿತಿಗಿಂತ
ಎಷ್ಟೋ ವಾಸಿ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ.
ಚಿಕ್ಕ ವಯಸ್ಸಲ್ಲಿ ಶುರು ಮಾಡಿದವರು
ಬೇಗ
ಎಷ್ಟೋ
ವಾಸಿ
ಜನ
ಆಗುತ್ತೆ.
ಅವ್ರ ಕೆಲ್ಸ ಅವರೇ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ಸ್ವತಂತ್ರವಾಗಿ ಜೀವನ ಮಾಡೋ ಲೆವೆಲ್ಗೆ ಬಂದಿರೋರು ತುಂಬಾ ಜನ.
ಇನ್ಫ್ಯಾಕ್ಟ್ ತುಂಬಾ ಮಕ್ಕಳು 10ನೇ ಕ್ಲಾಸು 60%ಗಿಂತ ಮೇಲೆ ತಗೊಂಡು ಪಾಸ್ ಆಗಿರೋರು ಇದ್ದಾರೆ ಆ ಥರ. ಸೊ ಯಾವುದು ನಾವು ಇದು ಹಿಂಗೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳೋಕ್ಕಾಗಲ್ಲ. ಡಿಪೆಂಡ್ಸ್ ಆನ್ ದ ಈಚ್ ಕಿಡ್ ಆ ಡಿಸೀಸ್ಡ್ ಕಂಡೀಷನ್ ಇಂದ. ಬಟ್ ಒನ್ ಥಿಂಗ್ ಘಂಟಾಪಥವಾಗಿ ಹೇಳ್ಬೋದು, ಇದ್ದಿದ್ದಕ್ಕಿಂತ ಒಳ್ಳೇದಾಗತ್ತೆ ಅನ್ನೋದು ನಾವು ಕಂಡು ಬಂದಿದೆ.
Okay. So next question was how to improve the lung capacity and suggestion for breathlessness. So breathlessness can be due to either a heart condition or due to asthma or lung condition.
Or kidney.
Yeah, even if you have very high creatinine, you can have breathlessness. So you need to first figure out the root cause, get yourself diagnosed, and then accordingly follow either the heart protocol or the lungs protocol or the kidney protocol. So we cannot suggest in general for breathlessness, but of course to improve the lung capacity there are many techniques, especially in yoga and
Yes.
pranayama.
Breathing
First of all,
techniques.
regular walking. So regularly walking itself improves your lung
Lung
capacity,
capacity.
improves your
In
stamina.
fact, that is the best technique.
Yeah, and of course a lot of breathing exercises in pranayama which can help to improve your lung capacity. So do very simple breathing exercises are there, so do learn them and practice them regularly. So at least 5 days a week you need to practice anything to have its benefits like exercises or like breathing exercises. So do them and you'll surely be able to improve your lung capacity. Another question, an interesting question was that the protocol which is mentioned for thyroid is usually most people have hypothyroidism. So this person was saying that he has
Hyperthyroid.
hyperthyroidism. Should he follow the same protocol?
Absolutely,
Was the
no
question.
problem. It will work both ways.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
and same millets will work.
yeah. So the protocol is not a hormone supplement. So we are trying to
Regulate and
stimulate the
stimulate,
organ to work
bring
optimally.
to balance.
Yeah, bring it into a balanced state. We're trying to set right the hormonal imbalance.
And little millet 3 days, and the remaining each one millet for the next 4 days. Rotate.
So that's how these millets and kashayams work. They don't directly, they're not the hormone itself. They're trying to set right the
Correct the
imbalance
balance.
in the body, try to make the organ or the gland work in an optimum level. So they're cleansing the organs internally. So the protocol, though it seems a little off, that this it's the same for both hyper or
Actually, the
hypothyroidism.
same thing you will
Yeah.
find in your losing weight or gaining weight. It's the same things they work. So this is not medicine. That is another
They are
important thing.
trying to set a
Set
balance. So
balance.
if either way, if it's hyper or hypo, it's the same protocol, so you can follow it fearlessly. I'm sure you'll get results. Okay. So
Yeah, you will become fearless once you start eating millets.
yes. Next question was a person living in Jammu who is working in the army having high cholesterol. So they were asking what can be done. So what
High cholesterol. I think in Jammu also you get again, that is bilwa
yes, bay
leaves. Bay
leaves.
leaves, they are very good,
Mhm.
and have that kashayam 10 days, and then the remaining three kashayams for to follow up is Tinospora cordifolia,
Giloy, I think even
Giloy.
that should be
Yeah,
easily
is
available.
available, and Rolfia, that what do you
That's
call?
probably a little
Little
difficult to
difficult, but
get.
I think nowadays they are getting in nurseries. So
Bermuda grass is
Bermuda grass
available
is
throughout the
throughout the
country.
country, and even papaya leaves are
Yes.
also very good.
And of course, juices which help to
Juices,
bring down cholesterol blocks are
cucumber,
cucumber, uh,
ashgord,
ashgard, and bottle
and
guard.
bottle
And
gourd.
all these three are also available throughout the country.
Yes.
So, but do you need to
Loki,
start
Loki,
it? Yeah,
North India, Loki they call.
Lauki, yeah.
Loki, yeah.
You need to start eating millets. That is
Millets.
a must wherever you are. And
Yes.
these decoctions, I think, will be available everywhere. Okay. Another question was a child having ptosis, and they see that it is varying. When she is active and playing, it's minimal. When she's dull or upset, it's more obvious. So they were asking for a solution.
Nervous protocol.
Yeah. So for those of you who don't know, ptosis is basically when the eyelids droop and the eyes tend to close. This happens because of nerve weakness. The nerves supplying the muscles of the eyelid are weak, so the eyelid tends to droop. So for this, the protocol would be the same as the nerve protocol, which you will find in any of the books. So please do follow this protocol. I'm sure when you're saying that it's minimal when she is active, it means that it's not very severe, and I'm sure it can be corrected if you follow the nerve protocol.
Yeah, just an outside suggestion. You could also visit a good homeo doctor.
Yes,
The very good
good
medicine.
medicines in homeopathy for doses. Okay. Another interesting question. I really like this question that people having their gallbladder already removed surgically, they say that they need to take bile salt supplements. So is this true, and will they result in vitamin deficiency if not?
No, gallbladder is not the storage area for vitamin D.
No.
So,
Let me answer this. So,
yeah,
the vitamin A, D, E, K are fat soluble vitamins, and that is why, and since the gallbladder is involved in concentrating bile
bile
juice,
salts.
which is responsible for fat digestion. So, this is the connection. So, many people may not be understanding the connection between vitamin deficiency and gallbladder removal. The role of the gallbladder in the body is to concentrate your bile juice, and this is the juice which is required for fat digestion. So someone who has their gallbladder surgically removed tends to have a problem with fat digestion, and thus can have a vitamin deficiency of the fat soluble vitamins. But it's not a must that you use bile salt supplements, because the gallbladder is not secreting the bile juice. It's the
So yes,
liver which is secreting the bile. It's the gallbladder which is only concentrating it. So even if your gallbladder is removed, your bile production is there. It's just that it's a little diluted in form. So the efficiency is less, but it's not going to completely be, it's not that you don't have fat
I don't
digestion
have fat
at
digestion
all.
at all. Yeah.
So ensure you do consume good oils, the Ghani oils, which are rich in fat soluble vitamins, so that you get enough and you do not need to take bile supplements. That would be the answer. This was a unique question which I came across for the first time, so I thought it was really important to
Yeah, yeah.
answer it.
Good one.
Yes.
A good one.
Okay, a lot of people here live, which I'm seeing also, and have asked a frequent question is hair fall, excessive hair fall. What do
Mm.
we do for this? Go ahead.
Uh, Hair fall looks very, it's the most complicated disease, I can tell you. Starting from water,
Yes.
all the plastic that has taken over all our food materials and the hormone imbalance. You see, anything can be a reason.
Yes.
So
So
it's so
it's
difficult.
complex.
Cards
So
are
you
very
can have
complex.
hair fall
Hair
if you
fall,
have
yeah,
plastic
plus
in your food,
food,
any form
uh,
of plastic, like through water, through
water
oil, through
bottles, the
milk, through
oil,
your
milk, so plastic
containers.
sachets of all kinds that you are taking food, especially the Europeans and Americans, oh, everything plastic, plastic,
It's the
plastic.
same here
Yeah,
now.
and
Yeah.
nowadays, now we are also, last 10 years, we have also become like that. So that is the most important thing you want to get out of. So
The
you,
plastic forms a lining inside your intestine which
small
prevents you
intestines to
from
absorb.
absorbing
It's like
micronutrients,
selenium,
zinc,
copper, zinc, which are very
molybdenum.
essential for your hair growth and the hair health. So when you do not have the important ingredients, you start losing your hair, and then I have got 20-year-old kids becoming bald, and other way around, girls having hair on their faces, losing the hair where they should have. See, all these imbalances have to be corrected. So the best way is to clean your water, even if you have from plastic dabbas, plastic big tanks. So
Copper treat
copper
your
treated
water
your
so that the
water,
nanoparticles of
nanoparticles
copper are removed.
removed.
Make sure you have no
Nanoparticles
plastic.
of plastic are
Yeah,
removed by
plastic are
copper.
removed. Make sure that you don't have plastic containers, plastic for your milk, plastic contact for your oils.
Oils,
So the first step is water, then is removing plastic, then the next thing is of
hormone
course
imbalance,
correcting the hormone imbalance. A
imbalance,
major cause for hair loss is hormonal imbalance.
balance.
So you need to stop eating milk
And
and
many
milk
people think
products,
it's because of their dandruff and this and that, but they are all actually the
external factors.
results
Yeah.
of not having the internal system right. So you have dandruff because you don't have the right nutrients going into your skull and then helping your hair to be healthy. So Unless you remove the internal problem, you cannot get rid of all this. So these all ads having shampoo, removing the thing, all these are bogus things. They're all wrong information they are giving. For that particular day, you will have the
Next day
clean.
again
Next
it's
day again
back.
it comes. So the real
So
cure
you need to set
lies from
right
within.
the hormone balance,
Yes,
and a lot of nutritive food which is required for having good hair. So you need to eat a variety of millets, you need to eat a variety
of
of fruits, a
vegetables.
variety of vegetables and green leaves for the hair. So
And also I consider microbial health, the gut microbes being very good, gives a overall health. So the wellness depends on that also.
so
So
absorption of these
absorption of
nutrients happens only when you have a good
microbial
microbial flora.
populations,
So the
yes.
answer to having good hair would be that you need to encompass every aspect
Aspect of
of what we have been saying:
talking.
the rice, the
So
oils, the
I have
millets.
hair loss. What is the? There's no quick fix like that.
Only when you do everything
Thing,
right,
yes.
the whole
In fact, the
entire
most
lifestyle
complex
corrections.
problem is hair loss. It's easy to cure cancer. I'm trying to tell you that. Yeah.
Yes. So person saying that if he has complete baldness, is there any hope? So
Yeah,
yes,
if his age is young,
below 40,
below 35, 40, yes, you can get
it's
back your
still
hair.
possible if you do all these things. So
Yes. And we do have some cases
yeah.
like that.
So a lot of people asking questions like, I have complete body vitiligo. Is it possible to? Is there any hope? So someone asking that they had injured their eye optic nerve in an accident. Is it possible to get back? Is there any hope? So in these kind of severe conditions, we cannot say that it will definitely happen, but you don't know until you try, right? So don't have no hope at all. Set everything right in first and then see what happens. And let me tell you a case where a lady who had paralysis since 12 years had completely given up hope, like many of you. But after starting millets, within 6 months, she regained the movement of her fingers and is now able to walk. So it's never too late.
That
So
means she was there on the bed for 12 years. Now she's walking.
yeah.
That's the point we're trying to communicate.
So it's never too late. So don't think that there is no hope. So unless you try, unless you do everything right, you cannot say that it's not possible. So do try, and I think,
Close.
yeah, lot more questions
Yeah,
which
I
I
don't think we can
have.
answer all the questions, and we'll try to answer some more in the next coming sessions. And thank you all for hanging out with us, and
Yes.
a lot of you people. And
Many more questions to be answered, which we had noted down, but due to lack of time, we were not able to. But don't be disheartened. We'll be back again soon. Stay tuned to the channel, and we'll let you know probably in the next month itself. We'll have another question and answer session. We'll let you know the date and time, and we will surely be answering all the questions which we have got already, and probably we'll be taking a few more. So thank you all for watching, and I hope this has been an informative session for all of you. And see you soon sometime in the near future.
Sarve Janaha Sukhino Bhavantu. Be at ease.
Yes.
Take care. Take care. Thank you all. This is very